we're toasting our good friend Luis Camano, who passed away. He was a fabulous friend and member of Sunming Shu, and so we've been commemorating him every year, and it's a sad but wonderful tradition for us. So I'm going to turn it over to his good friend Dirk to give the official toast tonight.
Oh my God, there's so much pressure. Official toast.
Yeah, the official.
You're unmuted.
Well, so first of all, I realized today it's been 10 years since Luis passed, and almost exactly 10 years because he passed away right before training camp. And
wow,
he loved training camp more than anything. For those of you that didn't know him, that are new to Sunming Shu, he was a huge part of the dojo. I mean, he was all present, and he was really enthusiastic about Kung Nu and martial arts, and just the joy to be around. And you know, he was a regular staple at Manny's every week, and just a great guy. But yeah, it's been 10 years, which is shocking. Every time I'm in the dojo, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but every time I'm in the dojo, there's definitely a minute where I look up to the picture above the fridge of him and think about him. And if I've had a couple of more of these tequilas, I can tell you some kind of freaky stories also that are associated with Luis. But anyway, I miss him greatly. I miss him all the time. And I'm really glad he was part of our lives. And so cheers to Luis.
cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, somebody needs to tell the story about this tequila, which is his favorite tequila.
Robert, you tell it.
And I can't remember the whole ass of an ass thing. So
Robert tells it well.
Well, he came up to me. I didn't know who he was, and he said, "Master Robert, I hear you like tequila." And I said, yeah, training camp. I like tequila." He said, "Wow, I brought you the finest tequila in the world, smuggled out of Mexico in the ass of an ass." So I stopped for a moment and thought about that. What did you say your name was? And then he pulled it out, and I saw the shape, and I realized this was possible. You seen the bottle, right?
Yep.
Doug showed me how I could fit it in the ass, but
Dirk's got it.
anyways, so that was the day I met Luis.
this is it right here.
That was the first time you ever met Luis, right?
Dirk, put it up.
Well, the first time that I recall meeting him, I might have run into him in the dojo, but
Yeah,
after a line like that, you don't really forget the individual you're talking to.
that's right.
I haven't talked to many people that told me they smuggled something out of Mexico in the ass of an ass.
I've got one for you guys. When my wife and I were married, Luis gave us a gift and a card. And we opened the card, and it said, "Congratulations, welcome to the wonderful institution of marriage. I give to you the ancient and well-used marital weapons." Oh, okay, peacekeeping. My wife's here to make sure my story goes right. So he gave us a nice pot and a really nice pan and this rolling pin. And the pan has fell apart many years ago, but we are, we're a dozen years into it, and the rolling pin we still use, especially now that I'm baking almost every day. Every day I get this out and I think to myself about Luis, and I roll out some dough, and it's like one of my favorite things. So and then every once in a while my wife hits me with it.
I have a quick story. When we first started doing the Toast Luis, there was a time when Jane would, she was giving us tequila and everything, and she would give me all of his shot glasses as well.
Jane was Luis's wife, so in case.
Yes, and so I had all these glasses, and I kept bringing them to training camp. I think Margaret helped clean them one year, and there's about 15 or 20 shot glasses, and it just got to be to the point to where I couldn't bring them every year. I was afraid they would break, and the plastic things made much more sense. So every time I do a shot, I'm doing a shot out of one of those glasses. Now, fortunately, I'm not doing 15 of them in a row, but I do a couple. Here's one more to Louise.
14.
You could, Doug.
14. Awesome.
Ah,
So I have a kind of a freaky supernatural sort of story that I wanted to share. But and before I say this, just preface that I'm not really, I'm a scientist, so I don't necessarily believe in supernatural stuff. But you never know. So 10 years ago, in 2010, when Luis got sick, or when the incident happened at the dojo, I was in a new job, and I was that evening presenting in front of a large group of people, like 200 or 300 people, I can't remember. And normally I don't have a big issue with speaking in public, but I was up there getting started, and for the first time in my professional career, I completely froze. I just lost my train of thought, just stood there with a blank look on my face, jaw open, and a buddy of mine had to come in and kind of rescue me. And I was like, God, that was so weird. And I sat down and I was dejected and just felt awful. And I noticed that my phone was ringing, and I looked, and it was Amir. And I was like, whatever, just felt horrible. And I got back to the car, and as it turns out, that right when I froze up was when Luis had the heart attack at the dojo. Right about, I don't know if it was to the second, but it was certainly within a couple of minutes of that. And I never could help but think whether or not that was somehow, mystically linked in some sort of way. But anyway, stranger things have happened, right?
wow.
So could you do us a favor and not do any more presentations in front of large groups?
Sounds really intense. That sounds really intense, Dirk. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And what Gordon said, no more of that
No
presentation.
more of that. Yeah, well, I don't have to present anymore, thank God.
Smack, do you remember when we went and visited Luis in the hospital?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Doug, that was me and you.
No,
Was it?
no. I was, Doug and I went
more
there
than once.
at a different time.
That was odd.
Yeah, so we went in. I guess he had, he was in a coma, and laying in the bed, just perfectly still. We walked in, and it was the first time I had been there. I think it was the first time Doug had been there too. And we walked in, and you just don't know how to move and what to feel. You're just overwhelmed, and here's this vibrant, amazing man, and he's just absolutely still, and all the machines and the tubes, and you're looking at him, and your heart is breaking. And the nurse stepped back, and I walked up around him on his right side, and Doug went up on his left side, the closer side to the door. And I think I was the first one to speak, and I said, Luis, hey, it's Smack. I just want to let you know that we're here, just in case he could hear me. And I was hoping it would get through. And then Doug said, Luis, I'm here too. It's Doug. And beep, 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 the machine started beeping, and he started to sit up.
Holy crap.
And the nurse said, no, 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 no. She ran over and said, Luis, lay down. Calm down. Don't move. And he laid back down. He tried to get up when he heard Doug's voice.
Huh.
Because that's his sensei. And he wanted to stand up and bow or do something. He wanted to show respect. And it was that she said, it's the only time he's moved. So after that, he calmed down and he stayed still. But man, just that was a moment and a half for sure.
When Luis first started, he was in my class, and he had only been training for about maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months, because I remember it was like the spring push to get new students, and he was in on that. And we were getting ready to go to training camp, and we're at Manny's one night talking it up. And, you know, he was just getting to know us. And he was like, I don't know. I'm new. And I was like, okay, well, and I realized in my mind, like, this is my moment to hook this guy. And I said, well, Luis, that's cool. But if you don't go to this training camp, never, ever go to one for the rest of your life. And he's like, what? And I was like, you will never forgive yourself for the one you skipped. So he came. Yeah,
And
when
you're
we
exactly right too.
when we
Brilliant.
just came to the opening, he brought me one of the bottles of Carleo, and you know, it was a couple years later was when he passed, and I had been slowly sipping it as one is to sip the blessed Carleo. And,
Bless you, Doug.
right, and when I think I was on the phone with Seth when he told me like that he wasn't going to make it. And so I went and I found that bottle, and there was exactly 2 shots left. So I went out in the backyard and I poured 2 shots, and I had one, and I left the other on the table for him. So.
Well, I'm
I
right.
know him.
Is everybody who was at the promotion, the test and promotion that we did for his black belt? If you
I
weren't
did the
there,
Bocata.
and if you
I was
weren't there, Luis was a 2 black stripe when he passed away, and he was you know, he was very much deserving of a black belt. He just hadn't gotten around to testing yet, and so a few of us we had a big gathering at the dojo, and a few of us did his black belt katas, and we, you know, promoted him and gave his belt to his wife. It was really amazing.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Rachel was one of the people, and I think Emma, did you do one also?
You
Emma
did.
did the Bocata.
Yeah.
You did,
And-
Dirk?
No, Emma did.
Oh, Emma
Yeah.
did?
Emma did.
Okay. I did Tambo
Hey, Emma.
2.
Hi, guys.
Was Tambo 3.
It was the only time I've ever done a kata and cried.
I've cried when you've done kata.
Never trained with Gordon.
So I came to Sungming Shu later than a lot, you know, late in my training and later than a lot of people. But Mark had moved a couple years before me, so we'd come up and visit. And so the welcome that he gave me as a college kid from out of town was just one of those unforgettable things. The warmth was, hey, was just really important. So.
And Emma, is there any relation to your son's middle name?
Yeah, our son is Samuel Luis. That's our little boy.